Welcome back to Kind Regards, the show. If you're anything like me, you find yourself getting sucked into this kind of like what feels like an omnipresent sort of productivity uh, culture or like mindset in in the internet world. There's people who are sort of purporting that we should be sort of constantly spending our time well, that what is sleeping in, it's a waste. What is 9 hours of sleep when you can survive on 7, optimize everything, cut out toxic people, cut out inefficient practices, the Tim Ferriss, what is the minimum amount of time I need to spend in the gym to get the body that I want, or what is the minimum amount of time I need to spend on planning in order for the plan to go effectively, shrinking everything down, optimize, optimize, optimize. That's the sort of crux of this thing. The Huberman, the Hubermensch, um, is kind of big on this idea. It seems, I don't want to misrepresent him. I don't know him very well. I don't actually know him at all. I just watch his content sometimes, but I'm sure that you're aware of this. The allure of this idea, that we can cut out everything extraneous and just be left with pure productivity or pure like forward motion towards our goals and the life that we want to live. Um, and that kind of begs the question, what about the stuff that isn't that? What about the stuff that isn't that? Is it all unwholesome? Is it all bad and truly extraneous? Obviously playing video games for 4 hours after work every day is probably not the best way to spend our time. But for me, I kind of got faced with this. We were traveling around in a van, and now and then we would play cards. We started playing cards together, me and my wife, and games. Because I spent so long sort of wasting my time on video games, wasting my time in a specific kind of way because I was trying to make myself feel better. I was trying to like run away from my emotions by occupying my mind all the time. Games generally, I kind of relegated to this like waste of time zone. In my mind, it was just like this is all a zero sum game. Like I never get anything from this. But playing cards with my wife, it felt really kind of wholesome. It felt like a nice sort of spacious activity. Similarly, when we were in the van, laying on the beach for an hour, it felt pretty good. It felt like a nice way to spend my time, even though theoretically I could be, writing more video ideas down, or, drafting up an article, or doing this or that, meditating, doing all the, stretching, exercising, insert, read self-help book, read, book about history that will help you understand the world, whatever else I could have been doing. Yeah, so do these activities need to be fed into the productivity matrix to be worthwhile? And I suppose my question is, or the question that helps me filter this stuff out is like, what is life for? What is our existence for? What is all the grinding for? I think implicit in this sort of grind mindset and the optimization mindset is that we're trying to get to a place. We're trying to arrive at this place. Like once the startup is up and running and making all this money, then we'll have all this time. Or like, once we get really fit and healthy, then we'll feel really good all the time. That it's not the process itself that we're after. It's actually kind of this outcome, which I'm not deep in the productivity world, so maybe I'm wrong here, but the outcome is always kind of peace of mind. Like you'll be proud of yourself if you have gone to the gym today. You'll feel good about yourself if you read all these productivity books. You'll feel capable, and therefore you'll have peace of mind. And I guess um, doing little things that are in all for all intents and purposes, or whatever, from the productivity mindset, useless, I think is kind of like skipping. You kind of skip to the end here. Like the value of being like, I actually don't need to do anything to be okay and have a bit of fun and like have a nice peaceful time playing some cards, or like I actually don't need to grind really hard and have a successful tech startup in order to, you know, relax on the beach, you know, or go for a walk or whatever the thing is, it kind of unshackles us from this like grind set, you know. That's what people call it sometimes. Yeah, and what is life for? What is life for if not a bit of faffing about and a bit of like wasted time? I read a quote once I'll try and find and put up on the screen that was along the lines of, if you have enjoyed wasting time, then it's not wasted, you know? Which sort of gets to the whole heart of this thing, that is you know, bettering ourselves in whatever way, creating the startup. I don't know how many of my listeners are creating tech startups, but like that, it just is a placeholder example, you know, getting fitter, trying to meditate, you know, stretching every day, or whatever the things are for you that you want to, you know, painting regularly, whatever your thing is. If the purpose of that is peace of mind, and we can access peace of mind on the way, on the journey, by sort of relaxing into, okay, I can't get it all done. I can't be constantly striving. I can't be always on my way somewhere. Sometimes I have to arrive. You know, sometimes after 3 hours of writing, I have to not write, and that's okay. This seems like a sort of wholesome thing to do, and a way of getting the very thing that we're working towards anyway. You know, the whole point of work is peace of mind, and bettering ourselves is peace of mind, and yet we can also achieve that while the journey is taking place. And for me, it can be hard to sort of love myself and like feel sort of compassion towards myself and forgiveness. I've got a video that I'm going to record soon about forgiveness, and I can find it hard to do that. You know, I think a lot of us hold ourselves to a really high standard and often don't grant ourselves the license to enjoy ourselves that we would grant other people, which I think is a really nice practice. It comes in my life from metta practice, which is loving kindness meditation, where you picture someone who you have a relationship with and that you really want to be happy, and you wish them, you hold the intention in your mind, you know, may you be happy, may you be peaceful, may you avoid suffering, you know, may you feel free to follow your, you know, value compass. Like, may you avoid the sort of, you know, little thought loops that we all get stuck in. Like, I want good things for this person. So you hold that intention in mind, and you can do that with someone that you know, someone that you actually don't know, you know, like the barista that you see just every now and then. They work Thursdays and Wednesdays, and you see them and you go, I don't really know them at all, but I really hope that they're happy. You know, I really hope that they're peaceful. And then you can also extend it to someone that you don't especially like, you know, maybe someone who's a bit of a burden in your life, and you have negative feelings towards them, but you can project this intention even onto those people. And finally, you can project it onto yourself, you know. And when doing this meditation, the meditation instructor that I was listening to said, but if you find this hard, if you find it hard to want yourself to be happy, picture yourself as a child, you know, picture yourself as like a baby, and think, yep, like, wouldn't that make it easier? You know, you see little baby you going, and go like, well, I want the baby to be happy, you know, I want that little child, the pure little thing, to be at peace and to feel ease in their life, and to not feel stress and strain and anguish, you know. And I do the same sort of flip to access, you know, self compassion and self forgiveness, where I go, what about my children's father? You know, I want my children's father to be a healthy guy and to be a happy guy and to be a peaceful guy. And that's me, you know, that's me. And yeah, I do want good things for myself. I do want to be able to step off the hamster wheel of productivity and optimization and, you know, always trying to get somewhere. I want my children's father to be able to be at peace and, yeah, waste a bit of time with, you know, playing some cards in the afternoon, or going for a walk, or, you know, and not going for a walk so that I am healthier, or going for a walk to get my steps up, but just going for a walk because it's a nice thing to do. You know, it doesn't necessarily get me where I want to go, but it's a peaceful, calming, spacious thing to do. We want this for our little cousin, you know, we want this for our parents or for our friends or for our children's fathers or our wife's husband, you know. We can want this for other people, and all it takes is a little mind trick for me to project it back on myself and go, oh yeah, I want to step off the treadmill and do spacious and peaceful things. The objection to this, of course, is what if it's unwholesome? What if, you know, the stepping off the productivity grind is used as an excuse to go, like, to regress into unwholesome behaviors? Like, you know, for me, it was like playing lots of video games, watching heaps of YouTube, you know, distracting myself with excessive sort of socializing and trying to impress people with my, you know, jokes or whatever, like trying to get validation from other people, all these things that I was kind of doing. Is that what we're supposed to be doing? How do we tell if our stepping off the bettering ourselves all the time mentality or treadmill, how do we tell if that's wholesome or unwholesome? And that's a really valid objection. So thank you for that, audience. Just kidding, I thought of it. And I would say to that, and perhaps this will ring true, that if you pay attention, you'll know. You know, watching YouTube shorts, although it might feel like a relief from the burden of the assessment that you're trying to get done on time, or the job that you've just called in sick to. Oh yeah, I'll call in sick and watch some YouTube shorts. Ultimately, it is what happens when you stop doing the thing, or when you're really mindful of how you feel when you're doing the thing. You will probably know that it is taking up space rather than creating space, that it's sapping your energy instead of granting you energy. Generally, we have a sense of this, and walking on the beach alone without a podcast, without a, you know, excuse me, without a bunch of content to consume, just playing cards, no music playing, no, oh, I don't know, maybe music playing. For me, music takes up a lot of space in my head, but maybe for you it's really relaxing, so, you know, power to you. But yeah, playing cards, you know, playing Go. I've got a Go board, the old ancient Chinese game, and that's like really nice for me. It really relaxes me and like creates space for me. And I think that you will be able to tell as well, using your senses and being sort of mindful and asking yourself the question, like, how do I feel right now doing this thing? That will sort of lead you to the answer. With one small caveat, which is that stepping off the hamster wheel, if like me and a lot of the people who are sort of sucked into this productivity mindset or culture, often for us it's actually more comfortable to be there. It's more comfortable to be moving towards something than it is to be staying still. Sometimes staying still can, I'm like, oh, I'm being stagnant, I'm wasting time, or this is uncomfortable. And so it might immediately feel worse. You know, that's like the sort of caveat here. I've actually never had a walk on the beach in my life that the first half an hour of which wasn't consumed with what I could be doing when I get home. Oh, I need to send that email. Oh, I forgot about that thing. Oh, how am I going to make time for this? You know, oh, when I get home, I should probably cook. Well, how am I going to cook this? I'll do that first, and then I'll do this, and then I'll add that. You know, this constant sort of doing, getting somewhere. I need to get to this place mindset has a kind of momentum. And so while we're using our senses to be like, is this a nice thing for me? You know, this spacious activity of, you know, wasting some time, you know, cloud watching, laying in the backyard for a bit, whatever the thing is, reading a trashy kind of book instead of your productivity stack of books, it might immediately feel worse, but that will sort of transform itself too. You know, the momentum of the productivity mindset state will sort of cool down, especially when we realize that nothing really happens. You know, no one's banging on the door being like, you know, oh, you're a loser. Like, you know, why aren't you working harder? You know, it might happen up here, but nothing in the actual world is gonna kick down the door and put us into pathetic weasel prison for being a pathetic weasel or whatever. We'll realize that we actually do have space if we grant ourselves space, and and we just need to sort of ease into that and relax into it as best we can. That might be really hard. That might be a lot harder for some people than others, and I don't want to make it sound like, oh, just wait 10 minutes and it'll be easy. But I do think that with a bit of practice, and having a little bit of spaciousness in every day, if your days are really packed, like in certain times of my life, my days have been way too full, constantly doing stuff, listening to stuff, thinking about stuff. With the regular practice, we can kind of reel that back and enjoy the sort of time wasting activities that are nice and that we like. We can kind of enjoy them and enjoy the sort of peace and spaciousness that they provide. So that's kind of the crux of the video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it's not too preachy, I guess. Like, I hope it connects with you and makes sense for you. If it does, then you'll know, that's great. And if it doesn't, and you've maybe got the opposite problem, the problem I used to have of actually not doing enough and not being active enough in your own life, then maybe you're listening to this going, not for me, dude. This is not what I need to hear. In which case, so, trust your senses, I guess. I'm not some kind of guy who knows what's best for you. But yeah, thanks very much for watching. Thanks for being here. And thanks for sticking around and clicking on this video. I assume a lot of you have been viewers sort of previously and have noticed the big hiatus. Oh, where's that guy gone? That guy who talks about the meditation stuff. Yeah, and I apologize for being away, but it's nice to be back. It's nice to be working again on this stuff, and I hope you enjoy. I hope it's fruitful for you. Yeah, thanks very much. Bon voyage. And also, sorry, really quickly before you click off this, I have a Substack, and I post articles there that are sort of this kind of stuff, these sort of notes of these ideas, meditation and mindfulness, and sort of the balance between doing and being, and just how to live better lives. The sort of useful pragmatic philosophy that a lot of good old philosophy used to be. That's kind of what I'm trying to do here. But I do them a little bit more in depth, and I have sort of more quotes, and they're quite polished. I spend a week or a fortnight on each of them, so they're longer, maybe a 10-minute read, and yeah, much more thorough than this is. So if you like that kind of thing and you'd be interested, the Substack link will be below. And also, if you want to listen to this or watch it instead of whichever one you're doing, there's a Spotify link below and a YouTube link, depending on which one you like. Anyways, that's enough from me. Thanks very much. See ya.